Hey everyone, Elon Musk here to teach you how to play Yu-Gi-Oh like a Sigma male. My dad made a lot of money by investing in Zambian blood diamonds, and for this deck we're doing the same. Here is the blood, and here are the diamonds. Imp, Cantation, Mandrake, and Plume are played at 3. We run 3 copies of Megalith Fool. He can ritual summon during the opponent's main phase, and even summons from deck. We often summon B Thor, who turns into a ritual beast steeds to cock block the opponent. Sun Tzu once said, "Disrupt your opponent and he cannot disrupt you. Fail to disrupt him and he'll use Beatrice Pass." I also run Double Ophiel, Hagrid, and Cock. When each of them is summoned, we add cards to our hand to max the grind set. Unformed can ritual summon from our deck, but it's not a ritual spell. And with 1 portal and emergence for resource generation, we then have triple Manju and Senju to always have our rituals in hand, since this deck doesn't have any normal summons. The lack of a normal summon could let you run an invoked variant, but that's very complicated and only for Zeta males. Don't run promotion. Fool by himself applies the same effect on top of recursion and searching. Like the true Sigma, we've gathered the Infinity Stones, and now we control our own reality. So, Konami have this ban list, where they get rid of problem cards like Zodiac Drident, True King of all calamities and Outer Entity as a thought. But we play the Sigma ritual versions to dodge the ban list. This is Zodiac Drident, but even stronger. This man is able to use the destroy effect twice per turn, once on monsters and once on back row, and it even works on face downs. For Very Fun Dragon, we have Magi Key, Gearglasser. This guy negates the effect of a monster with the same attribute as one in our grave. It doesn't even need to be an on-field effect. Lord of the Red is fire, so he negates Sprite and Salomon Great, and we have several Light and Darks, which works against 90% of other decks. Finally, for as a thought, we would have Magician of Black Chaos Max. Unfortunately, Konami don't have the copyright to the card, and it isn't in Master Duel. So we pull a total Epsilon move and play Amor Factor Pain, who skips the opponent's next main phase 1 on summon and negates the effects of fusion, synchro, and exceed monsters. Because these rituals are Sigma males, Glass and Pain don't have ritual spells, being summoned using a normal and a field spell instead, which means we don't run pre-prep. Candle and Book are also bricky due to a lack of spells. Fortunately, Cock can summon any ritual monster from hand as a quick effect, so that's how we summon them. Cock is Earth, our diamond hands are light, and imps are dark, so we fill the Gearglasser condition. If you use Inception, you only tribute imps, so Gearglasser wouldn't have an effect. Use Inception either to summon Megaliths or for pain. Megalith Portal gets any ritual from grave to hand each turn when we special summon a Megalith, so we can swap 1 on field for 1 in hand, and then get the on-summon effect of the 1 in hand, which adds us more cards to outgrind the opponent. Since Cock and Fool have a quick effect to summon, we can do this every turn, never stop grinding. Emergence also counts as special summon in a pinch, and Unformed can be set to use on the opponent's turn as well. Full's effect adds a Megalith from grave to hand, and gives him the same level. So with Portal we get 2 cards from grave back to hand. Make sure Portal grabs the lower level, so Full can have the higher level for himself. Note that all these quick effects to ritual summon also allow Lord of the Red to easily get his destruction effect off, so we can nuke our opponent's entire field off 1B Thor. I see a lot of players running infinite impermanence, using it incorrectly and then losing. Instead, I run Lost Wind. When a monster is summoned from the extra deck, it returns to field so you can negate again. Also, it banishes when it leaves the field, but doesn't if it's negated. If Dragon Maid Shu is summoned, you can negate her. She negates Lost Wind, but then it returns back to the grave and is instantly set when Shu summons House from the extra deck, endlessly cycling and meaning she never gets to use the standby phase effect. It's also a rare, because this deck is designed to be as cost-effective as possible. You may have noticed that Pain and Glass are the only cards that aren't rare. That's to maximize the return on investment. But it also means we can easily enter NR Festival with this deck with minor modifications. Just replace with another Beathor or Lord of the Red. You can also do that if you want to save your SR dust. I don't summon Glass too often, so you don't really need him. You can also slap in Venu. She is basically another copy of Full to constantly recycle cards when we tribute. There are two other Megaliths I'm not running, Phaleg and Aaron. Aaron is SR, and his effect works against our grind set, since putting cards under the deck means Portal can't retrieve them, and since the protection is hard once per turn, I wouldn't run him. Phaleg gives our boys 300 attack per ritual in the grave to allow OTK, but you don't need to OTK if you outgrind the opponent with Lord and Bethor. There are also some things you can't adapt to. Like my issues with Twitter, this deck struggles with Flu Wander Ease nuts because we have no wind for Glass. And unless we open Manju, we can't even out the statue. We also have no water, so if you're running into Rika and Marincess add-in Necros Valkyrs, this guy can tribute off monsters to draw more cards. Now let's talk about the extra deck. Imps have an effect that locks you out of the extra deck while they're on field. So you can just totally ignore it and still do fine, to show those betas what a true Sigma looks like. Alternatively, you could run Gallant Granite, with generic staples like Baguska and Abyss Dweller to help floodgate your opponent, and then Zeus to sometimes wipe the board. But I prefer my extra. It's one crazy box because sometimes you gotta remind the betas that your Sigma mind is on a totally different level. Then Exosister Asophiel, she bounces one monster each turn. Finally, we got Draglubian and Heart Earth. Level 8 is fairly easy to make, just remember that Pain negates XYZ monsters, so he needs to be a material. Reminder that 97 locks you into only attacking with what you summoned, and prevents further summoning, and since 92 has shit attack, we want to use the effect after the battle phase. However, 92 is incredibly strong, it banishes all face-up monsters and set cards, including back row, if they were played that turn. It has no protection, but forcing the opponent to get rid of it is incredibly annoying, especially if we also have a full into Bethor combo or Lord to pop cards anyway. Also, I want to quickly explain the oversacking ruling. Basically, when we ritual summon, you can't sacrifice a level 8 and a level 4 for a level 8 monster. The 8 would have to be the entire sacrifice. However, our level 4 guys all tribute themselves as part of the summon, which can make you unable to ritual summon in some circumstances. So if you're sat with Oak on field and 2 copies of Bethor in hand, and wondering why the game won't let you ritual summon, it's not a bug, it's a feature. This also means if you sack a level 4 and then select Pencil, the game can force the final sacrifice into being full. Since a 4 and a 4 makes 8, once you select 4 and 3, the only thing you can offer is a 2. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. Next week, Ben Shapiro is going to explain the optimal way to pilot Orchest.